All right, we did get some movement in the case today. Caught me a little bit by surprise. I wasn't expecting this type of movement. It signals a couple of things. It doesn't mean anything for sure, but it signals a couple of things, and that's what we're all going to go over. Before we do that, don't forget to shop at onlytacticalfans.shopify.com. Permanently demonetized from YouTube. That's how I pay my bills. Thank you for everyone that's shopping there, and thank you for going to shop there. Bunch of survival gear and stuff on there, branded merchandise like this t-shirt. Bam! Looks pretty freaking awesome, right? Anyways, let's get into it. So what happened? So they requested 4 videos. Now, when I first heard about the 4 videos, I'm like, oh, no, this ain't good, because I thought they were going to pull, like, auto keycard videos and stuff like that. Turns out, no, that's not what they were requesting. They're requesting, so my co-defendant, Justin, he put out videos on his Instagram, and he had them saved on his phone, right? The video was this dude, he catches this big fish, and it's flopping around, and it's going like this, and somebody put machine gun sound over top of it. He had that on his Instagram. Then there's another one with the same fish going like this, and then there's rock and roll music put over top of it. And then it shows a picture of the auto key card and it says, do not cut. The next video was a video of Knob Creek. Basically same thing. A bunch of people shooting machine guns at Knob Creek. The next video was one dude was sitting on top of another dude, piggyback style. They're in a firing range. You guys seen these videos all over Facebook. So apparently don't share those because that's illegal to share these videos. But dude's sitting on his shoulders piggyback and they're shooting semi-automatic AKs and they overlay machine gun noise over top of it and they have fireworks coming out of the video. It's funny too because the ATF was like, oh, these are machine gun videos. My lawyer tore it apart and like zoomed in, like you can see them pull each individual shot. How are these machine guns? And he conceded and was like, no, okay, you're right, these aren't machine gun videos. And then the fish video, because the prosecution was laid heavily on this. All those anti-CRS people that are like, oh, he said scratch full auto itch and said this and that. No, the prosecution had nothing to do with that. That's all First Amendment protected. These were the manufacturer. They're trying to make the case that he was trying to sell these as machine guns. That's why his videos were in there. So the first video before the machine gun sound, the tuna, or what, I'm not a fisherman. I don't know what kind of fish this was. It's flopping around and it's making dolphin sounds. And he asked the ATF, like, is this how a fish should sound? And eventually the ATF was like, no, that's not how it sounds. And then he put it over the machine gun thing. Eventually the ATF's like, okay, we get it. These are shit posts. That's what they're called when you're just making, like, funny of stuff. They brought up a bunch of other posts, too. Like, he had this post with George Washington crossing the river, and it said something about, like, real Americans or something like that. That was also proof that he was selling machine guns. So, again, be careful what memes you share, because they will most certainly come up in court should you ever find yourself in that position. Anywho, let's circle back around to these videos. So they requested these videos, and there's a couple of different reasons why. Here's the screenshots of what's going on and what they said, and when you read the stuff, it kind of makes sense. Essentially what had happened is the prosecution, they oversold it and essentially misrepresented what exactly it was. And they did it in a couple of different spots. So they oversold it, misrepresented. One, they said that the machine shop said that Justin was there to have these cut out, and the machine shop came in and testified specifically. Like, they asked him directly, like, hey, if you want to cut these out, the way to do this is to tab the parts in. Basically how that other version of the auto key card is that the ATF found illegal. And he was like, no, absolutely not. These parts are not going to get cut out. These will never be cut out. This is strictly a novelty. This is for the picture, not for the part. And the machine shop's like, oh, because it's a lot harder for us to just do an engraving. It would be easier for us to just tab the parts in. And he's like, no, I'll pay extra because I only want the engraving. I do not want these parts to be able to be cut out. So they testified that. That's in the court transcripts. You guys can go read that if you would like. Anyways, the government alleged that, no, that's not what they testified, that they testified that they were supposed to be cut out. So, I mean, obviously, that's a simple, like, let's go look at the record. Oh, it's not true. The next thing they testified or overrepresented is they took screenshots of the auto key card next to people at Knob Creek and, like, tried to make it look like he was saying, cut these out, right? and you can make a machine gun or something like that. When in fact it says, do not remove, do not cut out right in the video. So that's not how the video was put in. It wasn't an auto key card next to somebody firing full auto or anything like that. Again, misrepresented, but they got to go pull it out. So what's going on here? Remember, the prosecutions, their theory is the word parts is metaphorical. The whole combination of parts thing is just supposed to be a catch-all to put somebody under machine gun regulation that's not under machine gun regulation. That's their theory. Because like at the closing argument, she puts an actual machine gun conversion device on her podium and was like, this is a flower pot. Now that I've called this a flower pot, does that make it not a machine gun? And these pieces of metal camouflage a machine gun device and the parts are hidden inside of the metal waiting to be removed. That's not verbatim, but that's generally what she did. She literally took an actual machine gun conversion device, put it on her podium, and said it was a flower pot, and that's the same thing as the auto key card saying that that's not a machine gun conversion device. So her theory is the word parts is metaphorical, and it's just there as basically like a box checking to be able to catch all. If something is suspicious or doesn't look right, we'll put that in there and we'll just catch it all because you know what, then we're good. Moving on. In the oral arguments, they tested the boundaries. They asked the government, well, what if, we're going to pretend this is an auto key card or a piece of metal, what if I just drew a lightning like on this piece of metal with a Sharpie? Would you guys still have prosecuted it? And then what they were doing there is they were digging for, does this have boundaries? If we affirm this case, does that just give the government like infinite permission to go after whatever they want? Where's the limit? And that's what they were hoping for, is the government to be like, no, that wouldn't, and then them wind back like, okay, if a Sharpie doesn't make it a machine gun, what does? What's the next step? Is it the depth of the engraving? Is it the accuracy of the engraving? Is it the engraving plus videos? But they were like, that would have been hard to prosecute. So they didn't say no. So basically they were saying that we don't actually have a boundary on what a combination of parts is. And that's big, because when they affirm a case like this, they're looking for where are the boundaries and are we okay with those boundaries? Next. So that's what they're looking at right now. Can we affirm this case? Because remember, their job is to affirm the case. Their job is, these people are complaining, we need to tell them they're wrong and the government's right. Now, if there is some sort of major problem, like constitutional issue or something like that, that's when we'll step in and stop it. But we're not here to step in and stop the cases. We're just here to make sure that nobody's getting screwed over constitutionally or something like that. Otherwise, we're just pushing them through. That's what we're here to do. So what they're looking at, can we affirm this case and not endorse the government not having any limits? And I believe the government really fumbled there in the oral arguments, because they should have been like, no, definitely a Sharpie on a piece of metal is not a machine gun conversion device, and then they would have wound it back. The government should have pre-thought out where our limits are going to be and make that include the auto key card. Instead of that, I think they were caught off guard and they were just like, well, we don't have limits. We're going to do what we want. So, can they affirm the case and endorse the government not having limits? And they definitely don't want to. So they're looking for a way, can they affirm the case without endorsing the government have any limits? So what they're doing now, and why they would pull videos like that, is obviously because they misrepresented the evidence. They're looking at, is the evidence so overwhelming, like clearly these guys were intending to break the law, that the mistakes in the case, like jury instructions and not following the definition of combination of parts, all that stuff, is that irrelevant compared to the evidence? Does the evidence outweigh the definitions? Because another big thing would have been, we asked to have the definition put into the jury instructions. We asked the jury, or we asked the judge to put in the jury instructions, should the jury not find the auto key card as a combination of parts or a part at all, they should acquit. And that's a big deal, because the judge should have definitely allowed that in there, like, hey, our whole argument is that this isn't parts, we need some sort of definition or something in the jury instructions, right? They didn't allow that. But is the evidence so powerful and so overwhelming that mistakes like that don't matter? Because you know what? These guys were breaking the law, and we can affirm this and we can just narrow the scope and be like, because this video and this context was put out there and they were marketed strictly as this, that that as a whole is a hard burden to meet for other cases, so therefore we could have that as a whole constitute that as a machine gun. And why this is coming up, obviously, is 3D printing. They're trying to push 3D printing right now, that the CAD file plus the printer plus the filament is a combination of parts. If they affirm this case, that's a huge step in that direction. Boom! Now if you have a CAD file of a drop-in auto-sear, a printer, and filament, you can find yourself in front of federal court for a combination of parts. Are they willing to do that? That's probably what they're wrestling with right now, because they know that they're being pushed. We need to regulate 3D printing, but my God, if we do that, if we affirm the auto keycard case, what's not a machine gun then? If a drawing on a piece of metal is a machine gun, where's the line? What's not? So, one of the good things is there's got to be at least one or more judges on my side. Otherwise, this would have already been affirmed, right? So, at least one. I only got to get two. At least one is on my side. Now, they could affirm. They could affirm with eliminating scope. They could remand it back down with jury instructions. There's a whole bunch of options. And I'm just going to level with you guys. I don't like this. Because they're pulling videos and stuff, they've moved past, does a combination of parts equal a machine gun? And it should have been an easy no. That the auto key card is not a combination of parts. The NFA and other spots say part or parts, like solely and exclusively, a part or parts, solely and exclusively for converting a firearm to a machine gun. They specifically chose a definition that says combination of parts. So it has to be more than one. Can a single piece of metal be considered parts? Can we let the government regulate potential parts, almost parts, and is the theory, the word is parts is metaphorical, correct? They've already moved past that and they're looking at evidence. Can we still shove this through? Can we affirm this without giving the government a green light to just do whatever they want? I want to throw a little something more in there. I'm actually putting this at the end of the video and I'm going to splice it in. Yes, I don't like it, but you know what? I'm out of prison right now. I'm almost done with home confinement. That ends in July. I'm with my family. I'm on YouTube. I'm making money. My life is good. I apologize if it sounds like I'm complaining. I am blessed. I'm not in prison right now with another 10 years ahead of me like Tate or something like that, where this decision will do my freedom. No matter what happens to this decision, I'm good. I'm at home. I thank you. And thank you for everyone that helped me. I had a home to come home to. I still have a car. You guys helping me made this all possible. Thank you. So sorry if I was sounding like I was really complaining about this, but in perspective, I'm good. I just don't like it because I want to get back to it. I want to get my gun rights back. I want to start making gun videos. I want to shift in lawsuit mode and put my life back together. Anyways, back to the video. So there's clearly dissent. I don't like the fact that they're pulling these videos. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm going to lose. I know that. It doesn't mean I'm going to win either. But I don't like that because there should have been a dead issue. No, a drawing is not a combination of parts. There's case law that already backs us up in the First Circuit. The ATF has done multiple approval letters that basically cover the auto key card. Not directly for the auto key card, but essentially, why are we moving on past this point? We'll have to see how it goes. Again, I don't like it. I'm still hopeful, but I don't like it. Again, I don't like it. There's no other way to put it. So, if you guys would like to help support the channel, but you don't want to shop at OnlyTacticalFans at Shopify.com, the other way to do it is go down to that Amazon affiliate link. Just by clicking on that link. Even if you don't buy what that link is for, just clicking on it and doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway, and it'll kick back for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.